All right. Good evening, everyone. Wanted to start off what I think was most important in anyone referencing China just altogether, because I know as an American, there's a lot of questions regarding China. What are the rights of the people? Because I think in the West, very politically and very publicly, we paint China in a very negative light. And as American, most of us, I would like to believe it, especially myself. If you have not been, then you are very ignorant of China when it comes to the rights of the people, the way that people live, a lot of their traditions and customs, etc. So I just wanted to give some insight of my experience because we just got back from China. And I want to talk about some of the things that I learned in China. First, I'm going to talk about the different rights that Americans have, the different rights that the Chinese have, because the Constitution says that, you know, that rights belong to you, right? But in China, that may be looked at, their rights are restricted to you because rights exist only within state defined boundaries, right? And the Constitution says in practice that you have rights as long as they don't interfere with state interests. Okay. So the America government fears overstepping the people. That's the way that it's written. But in China, citizens fear overstepping the government. In America, we have free speech. You can criticize the president openly all you want, protest the government, expose corruption, as people are doing right now, whether it be the Epstein files and all these other things that are going on. We can also say things that offend people. And we do have limitations to what free speech is in America, right? We do have limits on that. You cannot commit direct threats. You can't incite violence, which is immediate. People can protest police brutality, presidents, wars, publicly, loudly, and very aggressively. But even, and matter of fact, even burning the flag in America is protected by free speech. Okay, so the government usually allows these things, even if it's messy. Police may monitor, but suppression is legally challenged. But in China, right, you can speak with approved boundaries, right? You can only have particular conversations and speeches publicly, but within approved boundaries, because in China, you cannot criticize top leadership publicly. You cannot organize political dissent. You can't spread rumors. Because if you challenge the Communist Party authority, right? Social media posts criticizing leadership can be removed within minutes, whether they be activists, journalists, or even influencers. Those people can be detained. They can be silenced. And some of them can disappear from public view, right? Because when it comes to the government response, you have surveillance, because there were CCTVs everywhere. There were CC cameras everywhere except in bathrooms or people's personal homes. You have censorship on television. You're not going to find roughly any sort of American made dramatized movies in China. You're really not going to find that. You're going to find a lot of Chinese movies. And do some of them have shooting? Yeah, they have shooting, but it's not as graphic as America. And they enforce those things. Platforms are actually monitored in real time. So the bottom line, in America, you can embarrass the government all you want. We do it right here on Blacklogic. And in China, you can't threaten the image of the government or you will be detained. So we look at other aspects of the rights of the people, the right to protest and assembly, right? Americans, we can organize protests without approval, right? We can march, we can rally, we can have demonstration, right? Black Lives Matter movement, all these different movements, women's suffrage movement, whatever it may be. And that was in all 50 states when they did the Black Lives Matter movement. We can have anti-war protests, which people are doing right now with the war with Iran and Lebanon, with the likes of Israel. We can have political rallies, labor strikes. And now the response that our government has is that we're going to have police present. Sometimes they have riot patrol, but we can still have those rights without being incarcerated as long as we don't break the law. And here's another thing, the courts can rule against the government. But in China, you must get government approval to protest. Now, some places in America, you need a permit in order to protest because of that particular area. Also in China, the reality is this: unauthorized protests are quickly shut down, whether it be labor protests, housing protests, COVID lockdown protests, quickly dispersed. Because again, before I give you all the wows and wonders of China, I want you guys to understand the political and legality of how the rights we have in America versus China. But again, this may be some benefits for people because automatically when we think communist, we think everybody's being controlled. No, is that the same rights you have in America, you don't have those in China. A lot of those protests will be quickly dispersed. Organizers are going to be detained because it's not government sanctioned. Freedom of press. America, freedom of press. You have independent media. You have CNN, Fox, independent journalists, YouTubers like myself. And, the media can investigate like a Candace Owens. We can investigate government corruption, military failures, corporate wrongdoings. And the government response that we have, they can't shut us down legally without extreme justification. They can't do that. But media in China is state controlled and is heavily regulated because you cannot publish content that challenges the party narrative. You can't do that. Coverage of sensitive topics like protests and internal dissent, it's restricted that those journalists who try to operate, they have to operate under strict guidelines. And if you violate those guidelines and restrictions, then the content will be removed, and a lot of those journalists will be disciplined and or detained. Now, internet and surveillance. This is a big one because in America, we can access pretty much anything. We can access Google, YouTube, Twitter, also known as X. We can criticize the government online, the NSA, any federal organization that we want. And public debate is allowed. But in China, you have the Great Firewall. Okay, we're going to talk about the Great Wall of China a little bit later. But right now, we're talking about the Great Firewall because all the things I just named are blocked. Google, blocked. YouTube, blocked. Instagram, blocked. Now, granted, like myself, I had a VPN over there. I could still access, Google, YouTube, Instagram, etc. But for the citizens there, everything is monitored. A lot of keywords are flagged. Accounts are restricted because the government there does digital censorship at scale, and they have real-time tracking. And believe me, when I landed in China, I felt like I landed 5 to 10 years into the future. It was refreshing because I'm a big tech guy. My wife actually hates that, but because the bank account keep going down. But nonetheless, she knows that I'm a big techie. So I felt, very comfortable. Like I was like, wow, I was, I was blown away, but not blown away because I've seen many videos of the technology that they have, whether it be in their cars, their buildings, robots, you name it. But nonetheless, when it comes to internet, in America, we browse the internet, pretty much do anything we want. But in China, the internet watches them. It monitors everything that they do. When it comes to voting and political power, you can forget about it. Because in America, you can vote for leaders, run for office, campaign publicly, right? Now, the reality of that is an imperfect system that money, influence, and lobbying can change pretty much anything. But in China, you cannot vote for national leadership in a competitive election, the way that is structured, right? Because it's a one-party system, Communist Party. So the reality is that leadership is selected internally. So it's almost like a dictatorship as well, okay? When you have the legal system and the rights In America, we have a right to a lawyer, right to remain silent, public trials, presumption of innocence. But in China, you have legal rights on paper, but courts are influenced by the state as well as political cases that are often predetermined of you're guilty or not. So America, law can challenge power, but in China, law often serves power, if that makes sense. I think that everybody wants to reduce a lot of these things in conversation. What country is better? I believe that's the wrong question. I believe that the real question is what kind of relationship does a government have with its people? Because here's the truth that I think a lot of people may not truly grasp. I think most people will. America gives us freedom with chaos. Let me say it again. America gives us freedom with chaos because we don't have all these restrictions. China gives you order with control. Look at the murder rate between the country of China, 1.4 billion, 1.2 billion people versus the murder rate of America. I'm just kind of giving you guys an example. Now, depending on who you are, America gives you freedom and China gives you order with control. Like America gives you freedom with chaos and China gives you order with control. Depending on who you are, one of those options might feel safer or more dangerous. So I think everybody keeps answering the wrong question. This is the part I really wanted to get out before we get into some of the things that I've seen, some of the things that I've done in China. But they will ask which country is better. Because at first, I don't think no American who ever been to China would ever think that China is better, right? I mean, the question is, would you rather live in China or America? Who treats their people better? And honestly, fam, that question is too lazy for me to even think about because the conversation is not, it's not really about which flag looks better hanging behind a politician's podium. I believe it's a lot deeper than that. What kind of relation does the government have with its people? That's the real question. Because America and China both use, big words like rights, law, order, freedom, security, stability, so on and so forth. But those words do not mean the same thing once the government gets, its hands on them. See, I believe in America, the theory is this, that you are born with rights. The government did not create them. The government is supposed to respect them. The Constitution is basically the state being told, sit down, be humble, and keep your hands off the people. Like, let them have their freedoms. And the question, even with that, is, does America always live up to that? I don't believe so. America is like that relative who gives you great speeches at the cookout and then forgets to help you clean up. The ideas of powerful, the practice, the messiness, all together. It's very hypocritical, in my opinion. It's inconsistent and sometimes flat out ugly. But the foundation still matters because in America, us being citizens is supposed to stand above the state in dignity, but in China, that relationship is very different because the state is a center of gravity. Rights exist on paper, but in language, in official framing, but not in practice, right? As long as you kind of operate inside of these boundaries that's defined by the government. So I believe that message becomes that you have rights as long as those rights do not disturb order. As long as it doesn't disturb order. Because you can speak as long as your speech stays in the approved lane. You can move as long as your movement does not become political. You can live as long as your life doesn't change the authority of the machine. And that is the difference that too many people try to water down. Because in America, the government fears overstepping. I stated this. And in China, the people fear overstepping the government. this is not a small difference. This is the whole game. Because I've been to China, and this is where all the cartoon versions that people have in their head start to fall apart. Because when you actually go there, you don't walk into some sort of comic book dystopia where everybody is marching in great outfits with sad violin music playing in the background. No, what you find is something far more uncomfortable for lazy thinkers. You found complexity, you find beauty, you find order and efficiency and politeness and courtesy. You find a society that is, in many visible ways, seems like it has its act together better than America. And me being American, this could be a little bit irritating because if we start with the people, because a lot of Americans have been conditioned to expect hostility. But, and this is talking about in China, what you often get instead is courtesy, not hatred, not immediate disrespect, curiosity. People were looking at me really weird and strange and inquisitive. They're kind of looking at you like, you're not around here. You're not from around here, are you? But not necessarily in a bad way, because again, I had an awesome time in China. My wife and I were there for 2 weeks, and there was, depending on where we were, people were very, very intrigued to see foreigners. Now, that is what the tour guide was stating. I said, hey, why? And I just wanted to know, right? I said, why do a lot of the Chinese people, stare at my wife and I? Oh, because, and this kind of started at the Forbidden City, or the Forbidden Palace, or whatever they call it. And people just kept staring at us. And then people saw, like, usually teenagers or young adults will come over and want to take a picture with us. And so I asked her, I said, hey, why they keep staring at us? Like, a lot of these people from the country, and they're not used to seeing foreigners. I was like, and I just flat out said it to her. I said, well, there's a lot of white people over here, because they got white people there, from all these different European countries teaching English and, business, whatever they're over there for. She said, okay, maybe because you're black and you're a foreigner. There's not a lot of black people in China. I said, okay. Because the whole entire time that I was there, and you can ask my wife, I counted only 12 black people. And 2 of them was my wife and I. There was a couple that we met, a young couple from Denver, but they were Somali, but they were living in Denver. But all the other black people we saw over there, okay, I know a very small sample size, they were from Africa. Okay, so the people over there will look at you not in an aggressive, mean way, but just stare at you. You have to really find out that they're more intrigued or interested that you're in their country, because again, not too many black people travel to China. So again, even in Shanghai, which Shanghai was about 50-50, some people wouldn't look, some because they were used to black people, because Shanghai, that's where everybody goes. But it definitely happened in Beijing on a lot of our tours. They was definitely not used to seeing black people. But like I stated, this wasn't a bad thing, right? They just kind of made me feel like I existed. And believe me, majority of the people were very, very polite. They were very, very helpful. Everybody was respectful. I mean, unless somebody tried to sell you some, fake purses. But other than that, and this was all through language barriers. And I realized they were very patient, right? I would pull out my phone, and thank Samsung for the embedded translator app. Works perfectly, way better than any other ones that we were working with. And we use some Google Translate with the camera to read certain things. But man, what a great experience. I was really surprised. I was really surprised, because I think as Americans, we get propaganda about China. And I'm pretty sure that Chinese citizens get propaganda about Americans. And somewhere in the middle are regular human beings trying to get to work, eat dinner, and not be bothered. I do want to show you guys, you know, some of the pictures I have over here. Let me share my screen here. I want to share with you some of the things that I saw that you guys, probably never seen. Um, the food was over there. The food that was over there was delicious. Absolute delicious. Now, this was a American or European place. And I would tell you this. I'm not going to tell you not to go there, but I'll tell you my experience. They was trash. This was a steak place that was a Michelin chef, and it was not good. The meat was tough. That was just my experience, okay? 1515 West. This is part of downtown Shanghai. They are a first world country, if you guys didn't know that, right? Because some people, they thought it was a second world country or third world country. China is a first world country. And so is Russia. Their GDP is directly behind ours and is actually expected to surpass us if things keep up the way they are. Okay. Shangri-La. Again, this is these shots that I'm showing you guys of China that you might not have seen. Okay. It's a metropolis. Shanghai was a metropolis. Beijing was probably 5 to 10 as far as the way the buildings look, a metropolis. Okay. Okay, we don't want to show you that. That's my visas. Let me back off very quickly. Let me see if I can get to some direct pictures. I wanted to show you guys. Okay, this was the hotel that we stayed at in Beijing. Now, this hotel right here was a great hotel. The night manager was awesome. He attended to our every need because we had a lot of early tours. So he attended to our every need. But what's great about this hotel, now they got about 5 or 6 restaurants throughout the entire hotel. It's humongous. It's humongous. But on the basement floor of this hotel is an entire, they call it Cow City. And when you go in there, there's a Starbucks, there's a Huawei phone store, there's a Xiaomi store, there's a place where you can pick up groceries, all beneath underground. So it was pretty cool. And we found it out like our second to last day there. Okay. But that was a great time. But we took a bullet train from Shanghai to Beijing. And this is business class. And I think it was roughly like $100 some odd. It was well worth it because at first we were going to fly to Beijing. So somebody, no, you should take the bullet train, be a great experience. And it was. The trains, the bullet trains. And again, this is the one shout out I'll give out to Obama. Okay, I'll give out this one shout out. Obama tried to start programs so America would have high-speed rail, but it got, curtailed or whatever, and it didn't happen. But let me tell you, these were on time, efficient, and fast. I don't know how fast it's going, 250 miles per hour. I don't know, 300 miles per hour. I don't know. It was so fast and so smooth. It was almost like you were floating on air. And they also have this other train that this operates on magnets. There's no rail at all. You're not even on the rail. You're kind of like this gliding. They're using magnets. I'm just like, wow. We're so behind, guys. We're so behind. And I believe it's a lot of bureaucracy. There's a lot of politics and a lot of greed that is preventing America from being great. Now, if you guys are not familiar with Chinese cars, majority of the cars over there are sleek like this, futuristic, got all the sensors around it. They can drive autonomous. That's me taking a picture of it. My wife behind me. Screens all over the dashboard. And this is a brand you never heard. This is the brand, right? They had the brands you probably heard of is like, you probably heard of the Xiaomi brand, Li Auto, Neo, BYD, which means build your dreams. They have a lot of electric car makers, but a lot of these vehicles look like that. But then when you see our vehicles, look at the Ford in the background. Look at the Ford in the background, guys. That's how it is putting our cars to shame. It really is. And I'm going to show you some more of that. That's my wife getting her nails done there, the food. Now, this is my hotel at night, okay? And these are charging stations. Everything was lit up. Look at this. Everything was clean. Let me tell you about how clean it was in China. At least the parts we went to in Beijing and Shanghai. I mean, I'm not going to say you could eat off the ground, but If you see a piece of trash, let me know. There was very few times where my wife and I saw trash anywhere, in the grass, in the bush, on the sidewalk, you name it. We couldn't find it. We were looking for trash. It was just like Japan. It was clean. Here are our pictures from the Forbidden Palace, or the Forbidden Museum, Palace Museum, or Forbidden Palace. That's what it is. Okay. I can't tell you about all the dynasties and the emperors, but this thing was humongous. And I took some pictures here. Look, she's probably looking at us, looking at pictures. They kept looking at us. And majority of people you'll see are, of course, Chinese and probably some other, Asian groups that kind of blend in. And you're probably, see a couple of white people, but we're probably like the only Black people there at this particular time. Okay. And we learned a lot about the history, because this was our tour guide right here, who was actually doing this whole tour in English, by the way. She had very, very decent English. But this was magnificent to see this in person. But once you see one, okay, that's way too many pictures, babe. Once you see one palace, in my opinion, and they break down what everything means, how the dragons were only the emperor could use the dragon symbols and dragon statues, but people figured out ways to work around that. How each part of this temple roof means something. The dragons inside of here, you have like everything means something in China. I learned that as well. The dragon means something. The deer means something. This, I don't know, is it a peacock? I forgot what the name of the bird is, but that means something. And it was just very, very, ancient, but yet beautiful and majestic. Here, we went into the clock museum. I don't know if you guys are big on clocks. I'm really not, but I took pictures of it. Some of the figurines inside of the museum, kind of boring in my opinion, but I took it. I took the pictures. Now, I forgot what I think this is I forgot the name of this temple here. I forgot the name of that, so please forgive me. We went to the BYD store to see all the vehicles. Okay, went to the BYD store. This is the Temple of Heaven. These are just a lot of tourist attractions that people actually go to while they're over there. Volvo say, what was the visa process like? Now, when we booked our tickets through American Airlines, we went through a company called Sherpa. Don't use them. Yeah, we went through a company called Sherpa, and we were very close to canceling our trip and going to either Singapore or Malaysia. We were going to go another place because Sherpa took so long in getting these visas. And the way they gave these visas, maybe we didn't understand the website, but we thought we was getting individual visas where you get them and you paste them, you stick them inside of your passport where it says visa. They gave us a group visa. So we were walking around with 2 sheets of paper with a seal from the Chinese embassy or whatever. So I would say go to the Chinese American embassy website and get your visa from that. My opinion, do not go through Sherpa. Okay. Now I wanted to show you guys this too, because these are knockoffs. And I inspected this shoe, and I guess you have to be a shoe head, a Nike head. But let me tell you, the quality on these shoes is impeccable. The representation of the real fake or the fake, they're 2 different types of shoes. And I always explain it this way. The real fake is a real shoe with probably real leather with real Nike materials, if that's the thing. But they're not officially, serialized or in Nike's inventory, so to speak. So, but they're real, but they're fake. Then you got the fake, where the Nike symbol look like a diving board. They just look super fake, okay? You guys get what I'm getting at, okay? But again, in hindsight with 2020, I was trying to get these shoes. They didn't have my size. Okay? What else? Da, 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 da. The Great Wall. Yep. So me and my wife, we made a mistake. We made a mistake on the Great Wall. And I'm gonna tell you the mistake that we made on the Great Wall. We paid for the what you call it, the Skyline carts that run on the cables. I forgot the name of them, but yeah, the Skyline cart that runs on the cable. We paid for that to go up to the Berlin Wall and a return trip back down from the Berlin Wall. The part of the the Great Wall. My apologies, the Great Wall, the Great Wall of China. We went through the Mutiana exit. Yeah, the Mutiana part of the Great Wall because they have different parts because it's like 1,300 miles of wall, right? We end up following this group of three people from Spain, and they spoke English, and we heard them talk to one of the representatives there, and they were like, "Yeah, the cart. We heard that the sky cart was up there." So remember, I said, "Oh yeah, babe, they just said the cart was up there." She like, "I heard that." So we started to follow them. Did you know from the ground floor all the way up to reach the Great Wall of China, me and my wife hiked up steep steps for 2.5 miles. At this time, at the Great Wall, it was 30 degrees. Me and my wife, halfway in, was dripping sweat. Because we went the wrong way. And as we was walking, I said, "Babe, look at the cable car." That's what it's called, the cable car. I said, "Babe, look at the cable car over there." And she said, "You want to go back down and catch it?" I said, "Babe, we seemed like we almost there, but we was halfway there." But we was definitely dripping sweat. Okay. They're trying to find out because I want to make sure that you guys understand if you go to China what you're getting yourself into. And for me and my wife, it was a great time. Like I told you guys, I'm a foodie. Unfortunately, I'm a foodie. All the food there was good. This is regular old sushi and tempura, fruit. Anywhere you go in China, they give you a cup of tea or warm water. This depends. Sometimes the warm water is supposed to be a tea. That's this part of their culture. Everywhere you go, as soon as you sit down, they're bringing over some basic tea or some warm water. Okay, or some warm water. I don't know why, but I got used to drinking warm water. I really did. I really got used to drinking warm water. Now, here's another car that I call the Ufaka. I don't know the name of this car at all. I just made that up. But I'm just sure I took a picture of this to show you guys the technology. That's the only reason why I took this picture. Okay, but I call it the Ufaka. It's not the name at all. Hot pot is a big thing over there. My wife got her own hot pot. That's mine. And we went to a restaurant called the Taste of China, where this interactive restaurant, once you go inside, 75% of the restaurant are movie screens. It wraps around you and immersify you. And it's kind of telling you a story of Chef Bao Bao. Chef Bao Bao is basically the Kung Fu Panda, but they call him Chef Bao Bao. It's a panda. And he's going around looking for different flavors of China. So he's going to East China, North China, West China, South China. And this part of China, they came up with the hot pot because of these reasons. In this part of China, they came up with dim sum because of this. So it was a whole immersive story, cartoon and realistic, but it was awesome. And the food was awesome, okay? That wasn't it. I was just kind of giving you a preliminary. Again, I took pictures of the cars. That's a Xiaomi. Don't forget, they also make cell phones. But their cars are put out to shame, unfortunately. Okay. This is the Jang'an Temple that was like literally a block away from our hotel. This is in downtown Shanghai. Okay. Just giving you guys different looks. And it was funny because me and my wife was just astonished, like, "Hey, why are people staring at us?" We're thinking, again, because of black or we're foreigners or the same. And they got all these pictures of black people up. They had pictures of black people up. So it's not like they're not seen a black person before. Okay. Let's see what else. I'm just gonna go through some of these pictures so you can look through them with me. Okay. So you can see the infrastructure. You can see how people dress. This is giving you an immersive experience. of the metropolis. And again, this is Shanghai. Okay. If you notice, a lot of the cars look sleek, a lot of the cars look updated. Now, this right here is a Louis Vuitton ship that almost looks like luggage. If you really look at it, it looks like luggage with the buckles at the top. But this is also in downtown Shanghai. This is a monstrosity. Okay. Different looks. Okay. Let's get to, I'm not going to show you guys any more temples because once you see one temple, believe me. Now, here's a pair of shoes that I bought. If you look these shoes up, they are roughly $100. Okay, they're roughly $100. I bought those in China for $20. That's correct. Now, if you ever go into Shanghai, you definitely need to go to the Starbucks Reserve Roastery because they have how they roasting the beans inside of the this restaurant / coffee shop. Okay, what else I want to show you guys? Oh, we went to the Bun. The Bun is a very popular tourist place in China because you go by the water, and if you look in the background, you have all these buildings are lit up, and you can actually watch movies on these buildings. They show commercials. Everything is lit the hell up. Okay, this is us taking a picture. You can see everything lit up from left to right. Okay. Let's see what else. Right by the Bun, there's restaurants across the street, and this restaurant is called Live Off the Land. And Live Off the Land, the food was delicious. Now, I don't know, we didn't know what this was, some sort of like broccoli, kale, we don't know, celery, but it was delicious. However they made it, it was delicious. The name of the manager that works at Live Off the Land his name is Alex, if you guys are ever in Shanghai. I would tell you to tell him, Ray sent you, but he don't remember my name. Yeah, but all the food we had was delicious. Everything. We couldn't find nothing bad about the food here, guys. Nothing. Now, if you have any questions, you can leave it in the chat. I'll answer to the best of my ability. Now, this place right here is called Waxon Valley. Now, what's cool about this place is that they created an old school sort of ancient town of China inside of this rock quarry. And it was, at night, this doesn't give it any justice, but at night, that's when the city or the town really comes alive, in my opinion. And we walked all around this place. The average steps that we had a day, especially when we were visiting places or touring, was at least 20,000. Okay. So again, very majestic, very beautiful. Again, this another great place to visit. This is an aerial shot. See it all built. And they're still building. If you look to the upper right, they're still building it. Okay. They're not even finished yet. Okay. I thought I had some pictures at night. There we go. So this is kind of getting dark, but as it gets dark, the whole city looks awesome at night. And some people just go there to get these pictures when nightfall because the whole entire city is lit up. And it looks absolutely gorgeous. It looks absolutely gorgeous. And by the way, I want to keep expressing that the entire time that my wife and I were there, we had no issues at all. Zero issues. Not with immigration, not with the police, not with security guards, not with the people of China. If anything, the only thing they did was stare. Some of them, not all of them, some of them, especially in Beijing. Hear me again inside of a car taking pictures. I'm a car guy, by the way, especially cars that got tech. Okay. Let me see what else I can show you guys. On my last day, we went to the zoo. They have a Disney World there. So yeah, I just want to kind of give you guys insight on that, because if I were to break this down to kind of give you guys a comprehensive, like, really way that I can compare America and China. And again, we already talked about the politic and legislation slide, the rights of the people, the rights they do have, the rights they don't have versus our rights. When it comes to everything else, how clean Shanghai and Beijing was, America does not want this. They don't want to smoke with China. I love this country and I want it to be better. And when I went to China, I think one of the first things is, like in Japan, the country was super clean. We're talking about a major metropolis. I'm from Washington, D.C. originally. And D.C. is not a clean city. Only kind of like downtown where they have the trash pickers. But we went all through Shanghai. And it was this one little area that we saw a couple of pieces of trash. I think it was in front of this, this urban hospital. They have people all over the place picking up trash. I think that China looked at infrastructure and said, what if we actually built a future instead of holding press conferences about maybe discussing the possibility of funding one day? They just do things for the betterment of the people, because if you do something for the country, you're doing it for the people. Like high-speed rail. Where would we be if we had high-speed rail where you can be in LA, you high-speed rail from, say, LA to Chicago to Scottsdale, Arizona, to this the major cities originally, to New York, to Miami, and it would be cheaper, safer. I mean, planes are still the safest way of traveling, but trains are second. Think about that. They have massive subway systems. There's places in America, if you don't have a car, good luck. And I get it. A lot of people are going to say that's because they have 1 billion something people. But China is still a big country. Bathrooms were clean, except the bathrooms my wife didn't like, because the bathrooms my wife didn't like, if you guys ever been to like Korea, they have the hole in the ground. Some of the bathrooms, depending on where you are, especially in Beijing, they got the ones that you have to squat. There's no toilet. She ran into that a couple of times, but a lot of places we had, they had toilets. But see, here in America, you can spend half your life in an airport listening to a delayed boarding announcement that sounds like it was written by depression itself. They don't really have delayed high-speed rail unless there's an accident. And they don't really have accidents. And they're always on time. And as you look at China's infrastructure in many places, it felt like function became national pride. And as I was telling you about the food, my buddy said he went over there 13 years ago and that the food was trash. And what I soon realized is that American Chinese food is not China. That's fan fiction. Because they have a lot of, regional flavors. They have a lot of street food. A lot of their food have different textures and ingredients and traditions. There's a lot of soup and hot pot there, but they also have other forms of food that I showed you guys as well. Here's some, this was one of the pictures here from the Taste of China that I told you was that immersive experience, the restaurant we went into. It's almost, and see, look at the table. This is from a projector above, and this was on each and every table. Did I get a picture of around it? Oh, this was delicious. I know some of you like, it don't look that good. Hot pot. This was all for them Taste of China. So all these different dishes that you see were from the different pots that the chef Bao Bao was traveling. Okay, so seeing that little panda face. Yeah, but it was delicious. It was delicious. But yeah, the food was better than expected. It really was. I was kind of blown away with the food because I was expecting for the food not to be good. Then what about some of the activities? That's what I believe China really starts to show off. Because you know how a lot of us, we had to go to Jamaica and Dominican Republic and Mexico, and we do those excursions to really have a good time. Shanghai has its own Disney World. Shanghai. And I think when it comes to the activities, um, you're surrounded by a lot of ancient history, a lot of temples, a lot of walls, palaces, you know, and then you're in Beijing when you witness those things. And the next moment you are in a city that looks like it downloaded an update from 2048. And guess what? Shanghai is not the most technological city in China. It's not. It's Shingdong. A lot of people think it's Shenzhen, but it's Shingdong, where a lot of the taxis are autonomous. Like literally, you're getting in a taxi, there's no driver. There's not someone behind the wheel. There's not someone in the passenger seat. There's no driver. But we were very, very surprised about our time in China. I'm telling you guys, who would have thought that, not only was the experience of interaction with people, going on tours, traveling, every single experience that you can possibly think of was good. I don't have nothing bad to say about China. Now, I did talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. So any Chinese person that may see this, I'm being truthful of what me and my wife witnessed. And we probably witnessed this around 6 or 7 times, and it was all men. They dig up their nose, and we've seen them roll them, eat them, roll them, and pluck them. I'm not lying. I believe the Chinese people are very beautiful people, very peaceful people. But this is the ugly part of what I was referring to, that we actually saw people dig up their nose and eat their boogers. We saw at least 6 to 7 men do that. We didn't see any women do that. I don't believe we wasn't really watching no kids, but that was our experience. Here's another ugly. So America is 350 million people. In China, it's 1.2, 1.4 billion people. 300 men smoke. Everywhere we went, Beijing or China, there was this people smoking. In certain places where you couldn't smoke, they had no smoking signs all over the place. They had no smoking signs on the train. Like, because as soon as we're stopped, you see a bunch of men jump outside. So, and if you look at the cause of death in China, they could probably all of them probably can live to 100 because they believe in holistic medicine. They don't believe in a lot of prescription drugs. So they drink a lot of teas. We went to a lot of tea houses where the white tea is for this, the green tea is for that, the fruit tea is for that, the green leaf medicine tea. So they do a lot of things holistically. I wish America would do that because there's not big businesses in holistic medicine, right? Because they create a lot of these prescription drugs in labs. And even though they know that a lot of them are addictive, they tell you, well, the benefit outweigh, the reward, so to speak. And I just think that's untrue. I think that's very untrue. That's a lot of things I learned. You go over to China and you have, whatever ailment and or sickness, they have early detection because they do blood screenings, right? And then they literally prescribe herbs and teas, right? They give you herbs and teas. There was a black girl who went over there and actually said, "Let me see if I can find that for you guys." I think they actually care about the people, regardless if it's a communist country or not. Now, people say, "Oh, they were nice and they were respectful because it's a communist country." Well, they look peaceful to me. Everybody, the rumors that you guys heard, it was in the zoo. It was in paces that were like free in the palaces. They were doing Tai Chi everywhere. Everywhere. They were doing Tai Chi. You saw Tai Chi everywhere you went. But a lot of them could still jump. A lot of them could still walk a long time. So Tai Chi is actually working out. Am I going to practice Tai Chi? I got a couple of years. Now I'm really trying to find this video for you guys. Give me a second here. Yeah, I don't think I do this a lot where I have all these different accounts. But I want to show you her video. See if I can find her like that. Yeah, I can't find it. But yeah, they do a lot of holistic medicine in China. I think that's great. It's good for the people. It's definitely good for the people. But again, I want America to be better. And I think if you guys travel to China, it's gonna I think a lot of politicians and businessmen need to travel to China. Because in America, I felt like we're living in the past. Like Shanghai would make you feel like you're living in the past. And Shanghai is not even the most technological advanced city. Okay. But I told you guys a lot about the good stuff. Let's talk about some of the bad stuff. You can feel the surveillance in China. There's cameras everywhere, like not just one, multiple cameras everywhere, except for private places like people's home and bathrooms. But all throughout the mall, all throughout the streets, everywhere we went, there were, even going up to the Great Wall of China, there were cameras. So you definitely feel the surveillance. Maybe not always dramatically, maybe not like a movie scene where alarms start flashing because you asked the wrong question, but you just feel it. You feel that the environment is managed to a certain degree. You feel that behavior exists inside an invisible box a little bit. You feel that some topics are not really topics, they are boundaries. And there is a huge psychological difference between a place that says you can speak recklessly and deal with the consequences, and then a place that says be careful what kind of thought becomes public. Here's a question for you guys. Does free speech hurt America? Does free speech hurt America? That's a question for you guys. What's your question? I see you got a what's your question? And I would say there's a lot of crowding, like the personal space adjustment, especially again, you're talking about major cities. So you're not gonna get that in New York. You're not gonna get that in parts of DC, Chicago, etc. So I get that. But then it's like with the um I guess with the exception of Japan, Rwanda is supposed to be very clean. But there, both Beijing and Shanghai, both of them were equally clean. Now, As I was saying before, some places are sleek and futuristic. Others kind of remind you development is uneven and reality is still reality. So let's see here. Black people in the USA cannot afford to romanticize the East, forgetting historical facts. How so? One cannot blame them if they didn't did not do the surveillance. Then what do you think the American Samossad Mossad would do to them? You see what Americans. No one has any freedom anywhere. It's a good point. That's a good point. No disagreements. Now, granted, you cannot seriously compare the right to openly criticize leadership in America with the boundaries around criticizing top leadership in China and act like these are two different flavors of the same thing. There are not. Because in America, you can insult the president, you can mock senators, you can drag the government online, you can expose corruption, you can burn the flag, you could organize a protest, and you can build an entire media career off embarrassing the powerful. Is it very messy? Yes. Could it be dangerous? Yes. But free. But in China, once your speech starts threatening state narrative or party authority or public order as defined by the state, now you are playing a different game. And again, a lot of Westerners, right? They romanticize order, like myself, because I like order. Being in the military, you start to appreciate order. Things are in order. Things are neat, tidy, aligned. You start to like things like that. So I think Westerners go over there and they romanticize order because they never had to live under the kind of order that checks your thoughts before your mouth opens. That's the part that people skip. Like, again, you love the result. They don't think deeply enough about the cost, though. And then the one thing that hit everybody home. See, this is the thing. You might think you go to China like myself, oh, it's wonderful, it's beautiful. They're like, oh, I could live here. Then you talk about the internet. Come on now. That right there alone should wake people up who are from the West who want to live in China. Because in America, if you like, the internet is a jungle. Lies, truth, chaos, nonsense, propaganda, genius, foolishness, all of it's fighting in public. All of it. People debating, battle rapping, you name it. We got all types of stuff on the internet in America. But in China, the internet is curated, is filtered, and it is managed. And this is not a small technical difference. If you guys look up certain keywords on X, don't you know that explicit, I'll just call it that, starts with a P, explicit nature of human beings occur on X? So if you have any children on X, there's a lot of things that are related to the P word that has to deal with adults naked doing certain acts. I'll just say that. Also, they have one system. So I think a lot of Americans will say that they will tolerate chaos because control is dangerous. While others may state that we will tolerate control because chaos is dangerous. And I know certain questions in the chat. So what are you saying? Is America better or China is better? I'm saying America is freer. You have more freedoms. That doesn't always mean better ran or better run. It does not always mean more efficient. It does not always mean more humane in practice. So we don't have to play dumb on that. America can give you broad constitutional freedoms and still give you failing infrastructure. While we have a city like Flint, Michigan, they have lead in the water, failing infrastructure. We have political clown shows. We have media theater and corruption and lobbying, racial disparities, selective justice, and enough dysfunction to make you want to throw your damn TV and computer out of the window. Because freedom with chaos is still chaos. But here's a distinction that really matters to me. In America, you can fight the chaos out loud. In China, if the system itself is the problem, your room to fight is a lot smaller. And that's the difference. American gives you the right to challenge power, even when power ignores you. China gives you order produced by power, as long as you do not challenge it too much. So that trade-off to me is very real. In American, you can say almost anything. You can go up to the president and say, F you. It's not a crime. But in China, a lot gets done, but you cannot say everything that you want to say. And depending on your values, your fears, your goals, your politics, your personality, one of those things can feel more attractive than the other, depending on who you are. If you know that you can't control your mouth, you have diarrhea of the mouth, don't think about moving to China. Yeah, go visit. Yeah, have a great time. I encourage you. I implore you. But don't think about once you're there, don't forget what type of country you're in. Because again, I have nothing negative to say about China. It was a wonderful place. Had a great time, great food, good interaction with people, very nice, very polite. Safe. Japan, safe. China, safe. Korea, safe. And that's why the conversation is so dangerous for simplistic people, because the truth really refuses to fit itself in a slogan. China is not some hellscape that people may think it is. America is not just some freedom paradise. America is loud, contradictory, free, unstable, creative, frustrating, and often embarrassingly inefficient. While China is orderly, disciplined, impressive, strategic, controlled, restricted, and deeply shaped by their state power. So the two vast differences is not a cartoon, but it's definitely a trade-off. And once you understand that, now you can stop sounding like a tourist in your own, political education. What rights do people have? I'll read some of your notes here. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. Raw states that every single Eastern nation doing anything worth paying attention to are doing it under the instructions of a Western power or agenda. It used to be Kissinger from the late 70s till literally. Okay. Don't know where to go with that. Let's see. Now it's just a standard 2030 agenda. Okay. Just a buffer agenda of West play by Eastern face. But you know what? I see we're getting into conspiracy theories, and that's fine. You can get into your conspiracy theories. But my thing is, we're talking about safety. We're talking about food. Now, I didn't see a lot of angry people in China. Maybe that's illegal, if that's what you're stating. And here's another thing. It was a very safe place. Now, Japan is very, very different. Korea is very, very different. But those places are too safe. What do I mean by safe? How many murders these countries have a year, like actual murders? I mean, it's so low. It's so damn low. Guess what a lot of these citizens don't have? Guns. Uh-oh. Get your hands off my guns, Blacklogic. They don't have guns. I'm not against guns. Being, in the military as long as I have, I'm not against guns. I'm not against risking my life for the freedoms of America and the Constitution. But let me tell you something, guys. Guns from a non-war perspective, they're so cowardly. You can be in a car accident or someone has road rage because you cut them off, right? Either you was going to cut them off or miss your exit, cut them off, or hit another car, or you just cut them off, whatever. They can pull up to a stoplight, jump out, pull you out your car, and shoot you dead. It's happened many a times in America. You get into a verbal altercation and someone can't control their emotions. Someone pulls out a gun and unalives you. So in some regards, guns can be cowardly from a non-war perspective. How many people you know that would have like, okay, there's no guns, there's, and knives are, people can try to get knives all they want, but we would probably have to go fist to cuffs. We would probably have to be doing this. Nobody's doing it anymore. Everybody's just killing everybody. So these countries are safe. Would it be the cameras that's keeping people safe because they can see everything? Could it be they don't have guns? Thank you, support for Jermaine Anderson. Appreciate that, brother. But I think it needs to be said because I don't think we can look at it from the right perspective. We can get to conspiracy theories, but how the people doing? Yeah, they can't speak out like the government. But here's the thing. As far as I know, all right, as far as I know, there's no racism in China. Now, do China have a color caste system? Maybe if there's darker, Chinese people. Do they have a class system? I'm pretty sure. You got the rich of the rich, just like any other country that makes billions of dollars a year. You have, China has tons of millionaires, tons of them. Then someone would make the argument that, well, all of these people are all the same people. They're all Asian. They're all Chinese. And America and the UK is very diversified. Well, then that's when I lean towards nationality and not the racial component. See, here's what you have to understand. China had a lot of culture, a lot of traditions, a lot of this courtesies and respect. And don't get me wrong, you have different echelons of people. I saw respect and courtesy from a certain different demographic of people. And I saw less of that in other demographics, but it still wasn't aggressive or disrespectful to me. But here's the thing. Anytime you have a country, and this is not anti-immigrant, anytime you have a country like America and a lot of the European countries with so much diversification that people are not nationals of that country for generations, right? Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, etc. If they have not been there for like 4 or 5 generations where they actually are those people, like what it is to be an American, understanding the laws and rules and some of the freedoms that we have, if we would just erase the racial component, America would be blowing China out of the water. Because look at diversification. Diversification can make you strong, or diversification can make you weak. Okay, well, how can diversification make you weak? It can make you weak when you diversify and or discriminate against groups of people simply because of stereotypical tropes and the color of their skin. Now think about how much bigger the middle class would be if Black Americans receive the same support and resources as these other groups. And again, we're not talking about immigrants right now. We're talking about the Native Americans, which I know a lot of people say, well, Native Americans are on reservations. A lot of them are suffering from, being alcoholics. But look at the other side of Native Americans. They built billion-dollar casinos. And anytime anyone goes on a reservation, it's tax-free when you buy things there. So that's the benefits of their reparations. And then when you look at the Homestead Act, you have a lot of these different treaties and acts that immigrants from, Ireland, Europe, England. It was coming over. They was getting a lot of these resources that put them 50 to 100 years above Black Americans. We didn't receive those. So you have all of these systematic barriers. And a lot of people like to believe that these are excuses. This is the facts. Because if this is truly about making America better, if this is truly about making America first agenda, then guess what? You can deport the 20 million illegal immigrants and then backfill them with white Americans, Black Americans, Native Americans, Hispanic Americans, and Asian Americans who've been here for generations who didn't come here illegally. America would be a better place if you didn't discriminate. Because what people fail to understand, Black people were the ones who were all the construction workers. And maybe a white guy was the foreman. Black people were all the plumbers and the electrician. And then you had all these immigrants from Ireland, all these other people come in, and then they boxed the Black people out and took those jobs. I don't want to say took those jobs, but they made it very difficult for Black people to pick up trades like being an electrician or a plumber. They knew we didn't have the money to pay for. So you have all these different reasons why. But some people believe that race was not a component. That, oh, you guys are just, the systematic discriminatory trope of lazy or low IQ. All these really silly things they tell people that it's not backed by anything. It's very emotionally charged. But without discrimination and bigotry and all of these systematic barriers, America would be better. America would be richer. America would be more advanced than China. Their travel was better. Their infrastructure in a lot of regards was better. Would America be safer? Would America be safer? There's some things. If we didn't have a massive amount of mass immigration and illegal immigration, and we couldn't own firearms unless you were private military or private law enforcement, would America be safer? I mean, even if it's 1%, would it be safer? Those are the questions I have. See, that's the conversation. Too many people are too scared, too tribal, or too uniform to really have honesty. But we're going to have those conversations here because I don't perform comfort. We try to perform clarity. I love America. Would I move to China? No. Because, people get so darn emotional, they just come up with the same repeating talking points where if you don't like America and you love China so much, why don't you go move to China? No. I just want America to be better. President said, America first. No wars. Now it's America third, and we have wars. And we're supporting wars. Let me see if anybody wrote any comments. But if you guys have not been to China, I believe that it would be a great trip for you to go. And I'm not going to be your travel guide. You're going to have to look up stuff for yourself. But we had an awesome time. And it really opened our eyes that communism is not what we thought. Communism is not what we thought. Can I give you guys an example? Did you thought communism was like this? Who thought communism was like this? Ribs on your plate. Anybody thought that? You weren't thinking that. You didn't think they had oxtail soup over in China. Did you guys? Hey, man, I love traveling. If anybody knows me, I love traveling. I'm a foodie, unfortunately. You know they had alcohol in China? I'm kidding. I'm pretty sure you guys knew that. I'm just messing around. Now, again, this was a restaurant called Shadows. It was in walking distance of my hotel. The hotel I stayed in, I forgot to tell you guys that the hotel that I stayed in at Shanghai was called the Kunlun. It's Kunlun Jing An. Great hotel. Both hotels, impeccable service, immaculate. We went to this place in Shanghai. It was called the Quintain Lanting. It's a spa building or something. It was, man, I can't tell y'all, man. I got a facial there. I got a massage there. Each floor has something different. The bottom floor, you come in, they give you a robe, a towel, some shoes, and everything was elegant. Everything was like upscale. It was beautiful. I wish I had some pictures for you guys. I think that right now I'm creating my vacation video, so I took a lot of the things out of here. I wish I had. Okay, here's a picture of it. Here's the picture of the outside of the place I'm referring to, the spa place. It's so zen when we went in, but I got a facial, I got a massage, and they had food and drinks, and they had a video game room. They had rooms where they had a table where you can play cards, but lazy boys. I mean, it was so lush. Okay, it was just so great. And I'm addicted to this smell I found out in China. Okay. Oh yeah, they serve caviar. If you guys never had caviar, it's good. It's not bad. Okay, little small fish eggs. I'm addicted to this scent called Santal 33. Anything that smells like this, I'm trying to tell you guys, get your hands on it. It's an addictive smell. And and we looked this up. I want you to listen. This is what they had in this place, right? And it wasn't cheap. It was $175 for 12 hours. You can stay in this place. Something like 12 hours in a spa. Yes. And it was 4 hours. You know, they had a resting room. They had a lay down movie room. I can't tell you how much stuff they had. They had a steam room, a sauna room. And everything was just plush, luxury, premium. I'm gonna look this stuff up for you right here. This look. Some of you guys who like this high-end stuff, you guys know what this is. But I gotta show you how much this stuff costs. This is ridiculous. They want to know where I'm at. You know where I'm at. Let me show you how much this stuff is, man. So this lotion right here, you see lotion, body lotion, 16 ounces, right? Look at this. This is from their actual website. That lotion is $85. And they got it in this luxury spa place in China. And I'm addicted to the smell. I went to Urban Revo and bought the knockoff scent. Oh, I'm wearing it right now. The only way you guys will know if you know what this smell actually smells like. And my wife, like, he going crazy because I like scents like frankincense and myrrh. I love that smell. I'm a big sandalwood guy, leathery and musk. Oh, I love it. And this scent right here, I washed my hands. I was like, oh my God. Like, okay, I'm gonna get off of it, guys. I'm gonna get off of it. But yeah, whatever they put inside this stuff, and I bought another knockoff of this scent from Zara that's coming in the mail because I'm addicted to the smell now. I'm addicted to the smell. But yeah, they had that in the spa. This was somebody's plate. I just showed it because all the shrimp with the eyes on it. Most Americans like, no, I don't want that. What else? I'm kind of going through this. Again, you want them purses over there. This purse inside of the actual Saint Laurent store that we went down in Shanghai was $1,300. Well, if you get it in a different place, it's $100. Let's just say that. Yeah. This is also downtown, big statue of whoever that is. But I think you guys kind of get my drift. My wife and I, we had an absolute, awesome time in China. We also said that we had a better time in China than we did in Japan. And we thought Japan was going to be hard to beat. Yeah, this store right here, Urban Revo. They have it online, but they don't have any stores in America. And they got this 1 cent, man. Oh, man. It's so awesome. But if you guys are looking at the food too, I know I'm all over the place. Okay. It's just a free conversation. If you have any questions about China, please ask me. But the food, man, and here's another Louis store in China. Everything was built up, everything was immaculate in Shanghai. Okay. Everything. Cartier. I mean, the bridge is over. I mean, sky rises. Yeah, those are the you know, the fake watches. But anyway, uh man, that's a real watch. Okay. And those are real fake shoes. Now, I know somebody has asked me a question. Let's see here. China practices state capitalism now. They're communists in name only. Okay. Okay. Here's another one of their cars. Again, all their cars look futuristic. All their cars look sleek. I can't stress that enough. I really can't stress that enough. I'm going to show you that other car again. I was showing you the one I call the Ufaka, right? With all the sensors on it, shows you everything. 85% of the cars in China are either electric or hybrid. Me and my wife was at the intersection. We were at an intersection in Beijing. We were at an intersection in Shanghai. And both times I say, babe, listen. The first time I was in Shanghai, I said, listen. She's like, listen. I said, no, let's listen. She's like, it's so quiet. And this is a major city. Now, what was in Shanghai, you could just hear, it was so many people, you can hear them walking and maybe a couple of horns blowing, but you didn't hear any cars. The trash can, the trash truck, electric. Everything was electric. Oh, yeah. If you guys don't know about this, I don't know if you guys ever had it in America. I had. But this Peking duck in China, man, the skin was crispy. The duck was moist, and it wasn't even greasy. I was like, this is delicious. Now, not all the duck we had over there was like this, but this was, yeah, it was good. It was really, really good. Let's see. I'm going to show that one more car. If you guys don't have any questions, I'm going to get out of here if you don't have any questions. Yeah, again, good food. And again, I was taking pictures of the cars. This is how all the cars look. Sensors, sleek, you know, unless there are American cars or foreign cars. But majority of their cars, man, this sleek. This sleek. You can look all the way over here. Look, you can look all the way in the back over here. Let me see if I can draw. They sleek over there. So, all right, you got any more questions? Let me know. I'm about to drop off of here, guys. But I just want to kind of give you a rundown of my trip in China. And, you know, look at this car right here, sleek. What I tell you, all of them, majority of them sleek. That trash truck, electric. Oh, man. I didn't even know I took myself off screen. But yeah, nevertheless, guys, I'm going to drop off here. If you guys don't have any questions about China, if so, go and leave it in the chat afterwards. If you're new to Blacklogic, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button. And again, I'm going to come out with my vacation video, which will be a little more interactive, fast-paced moving. But I want to give you from a non-racial standpoint of the video I did the other day and just my experience in China, which was an awesome experience. I definitely would like to go back. I heard that Hong Kong is not as clean as Shanghai and Beijing, but it's roughly clean, I guess, in most areas. I heard that the food in Hong Kong is delicious. There's a lot of things to do in Hong Kong as well. But the strange, and here's another piece of history for you guys before I let you go. When you're in Shanghai or Beijing, they drive on mainland China, they drive with the steering wheel on the left. So they drive on the right side, steering wheel on the left like America. But in Hong Kong, it's the opposite. Drive on the left, steering wheel on the right, like they do in England. Why? Because the British colonized Hong Kong for 150 years. Now, I'm paraphrasing because I don't have the exact details, but basically, the Chinese gave the British Hong Kong for like 150 years so they wouldn't colonize the entire country. So they basically gave a little to receive a lot. And people said that's the reason why Hong Kong is dirtier in their standards from Beijing and to Shanghai. Now, here's another funny dynamic. President Xi, that's president of China, is still president of Hong Kong, but the dynamics and politics is different in Hong Kong. They have like an executive that leads the country, but President Xi is still the president of Hong Kong as well as mainland China. I know it's weird the way when you read it, when somebody try to explain to you, right? But it's still the same thing because if China goes to war, Hong Kong will go as well. So there's a lot there, though. Okay. Let's see here. Let's see. The founder of Alibaba, Jack Ma, said Chinese spent the last 25 years investing in their country while the USA was investing in foreign wars, to paraphrase. Yep. I'm glad you point that out. And this is what I was referring to. I told somebody that majority of American culture is war. Majority of American culture is war and racism. That's just what it is. I know people like to refrain in talking about race, but it's very difficult to talk about America without talking about race because that is the very foundation that it was built on. It was war and discrimination. It was war and slavery. It was war and genocide. This our Pledge of Allegiance. Like when we was over in Korea and we used to go to the movies, you used to have to stand up while the Chinese national anthem was playing, and they would show this like little clip, right? They had these little video clips when you're playing the American national anthem or the Korean national anthem. So the first one was the Korean national anthem, and it was people laughing and joking and showing flowers, and everything was beautiful and everything was great, and people were happy and joyful and glee. Then they played the American national anthem. And if you was a soldier there, you came to attention, and you watching a video clip of jets fly while the flag is waving, bomb bursting in air. Gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. It's all about war. Think about it. American history is predicated upon war and racism. That's just the truth of the matter. By everybody else is living these blissful, peaceful lives, not trying to kill all their citizens. Either the citizens are not trying to kill each other, or the government trying to kill each other, or racial groups trying to kill each other. They just don't have that in Asia. Especially in Korea, Japan, China. Oh, not in Vietnam, from what I can tell. Now, granted, all these countries have mafias. There's a Chinese mafia, there's a Japanese mafia, there's a Vietnamese mafia. They all have their own, criminal class. But they take hold and responsibility. If they are unaliving somebody, it's a big thing. They actually value life. You go to the Chinese hospital and they're not prescribing you codeine. They're prescribing you some sort of root or some sort of herb or some sort of tea. Very holistic. The way my wife and I try to live our lives, very holistic. When I coming down with something, I take oil of oregano. I take those cell salts. I take elderberry. I make a tea, or I take the organic pills. I take Miracle of Life, which is another elixir that's holistic. So I try to live my life as well. Over there, hey, there's a tea for that. There's a tea. You got cancer? No, there's no tea for cancer. But but you get what I'm getting at. Common issues, you got stomach issues, it's a herb, it's a tea. You got a headache, it's a herb, it's a tea. Not take some Tylenol, Advil, Bufferin. No. Go sit down, have you some white tea, right? drink a couple of, glass of that, you'll be all right tomorrow. Just saying. So that was a really good message, saying that what they actually invest in. Let's see here. Neely Fuller pointed this out since the 80s and 90s. One of our great master teachers, Neely Fuller, thank you. These nations in the East are being allowed to prosper intentionally so they can play the role of being adversary to the Western agenda. Quite possible. I know you on your conspiracy theory today. Okay. I'm entertaining just a little bit. Okay. This is more so a vacation review in the dynamics of the rights of the people review, not so much a conspiracy thing, but I get what you're getting at. The West deindustrialized itself to make sure that Black America did not achieve stability within the middle class. Absolutely. Absolutely. See, that's the thing that in the plight, and I say that very lightly, in the plight of reparations, do I believe I will receive reparations in my lifetime? No, I don't. I don't. I don't know if we would ever receive reparations, but I don't think that we should give up. Because we have to think about it from a power perspective. Yeah, we have to think of it from a power perspective. Why would people who put us in bondage, rape, kill, pillage our towns, destroyed our towns, made promises, revoked, reneged on their promises, then turn around and expect for them to give us millions of dollars like they did the Native Americans? And then we have Democratic and Republican shields that look like us who aren't in office. See, the respective Republicans I have, they don't even talk about it. And if it's brought up, they just say no. The Democrats kind of lead you on this breadcrumb trail. They would tell you that civil rights were for Black people. No, it wasn't. Civil rights was not for Black people. Civil rights were for everybody. Affirmative action was not for Black people. And that's why a majority of Black people didn't receive affirmative action like they think we did. It was for everybody. DEI was not for Black people, contrary to popular belief. Majority of white women received DEI. So all these governmental programs, civil rights, affirmative action, all these things were not for Black people. You know why? Do you know why it's not for Black people? Because in any of those legislations, they did not name a specific group. They didn't. They didn't name any specific group. They just said for the people. But when they gave and allotted Native Americans reparations, they're the only group that was named. And it was given land and stipends and money. That's why they can build these billion-dollar casinos that people go and spend billions of dollars a year. Because they had treaties, they had agreements, they had contracts. Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen in my lifetime, but that doesn't mean that we should stop. We might just need to come up with a different method, but I won't waste my time. And not saying that anybody else in this space does, but just consistently talking about reparations, I'm just not going to do it. Because we still need to progress as a people, even though they look at us like the control opposition. We still have to progress as a people. We can't allow governmental entities try to direct the way we go about living our lives, meaning that, the curriculum that they have at school, you have to really teach the little time that you may have, you really need to teach your kids and put them in position, put them in degree programs, put them in courses that is going to benefit them 10 to 20 years from now. Because the American education system, trash. I don't care where you live at. Of course, there's going to be some elite schools that is teaching, the 1%, the wealthy kids, what industries they should be investing, what industries they should be learning, what industries they should be trying to work in the next 10 to 20 years. But regular public school, regular private school, no. The curriculum is still ancient. You go over here, they got LED lights everywhere. Everything is lit up. They got modernized, technologically advanced cars and I mean, all over the place. Even the mopeds that you see, those are electric. They're pushing innovation faster than we are. We are, I don't know, man, we're about 20 years behind, 10 years behind China. War and racism. War and racism, ladies and gentlemen. War and racism is preventing America from being great. Because as I looked and say, make America great again. Make America great again. Anytime you ask somebody who kind of falls under that, what do you mean by make America great again? Because I think it's from the perspective of a particular demographics of people. Because if I'm a foreigner, right? Say I'm a foreigner and I come over from the continent of Africa and I come over from the Caribbean and I didn't study any American history. I didn't study any. I studied about slavery, Jim Crow. I studied about Emancipation Proclamation, the Black Reconstruction, Homestead Act. I didn't study no American history. And I see Black Americans in the condition that they are today. Now, wait a minute. You guys been here since what? 1526, 1619, whatever. You guys been here for hundreds of years. How are these immigrants coming over here doing better than you guys? How, people from India with H-1B1 visas coming over doing better than you guys? Why are you guys living in ghettos in the hood and killing each other? Why are these guys coming here doing better than you guys? Why are these Nigerians coming over here getting top jobs and top degrees better than you guys? What the hell's going on? That would be me as an uneducated immigrant. Not understanding the politics, not understanding the underlying race component. Well, what are these blacks doing that have the police continue to kill them and beat them down? Wait a minute. Why would the police plant drugs in a black person's car, then frame them as if it was theirs? The only way to understand that is to understand America from its inception. That's the only way to understand that. You have to understand America from its inception, because if we allow the slaves to be free because they fought in a war against the British, and we promised them their freedom, and we actually, went through with our promise and released them from slavery, but then we don't give them anything. They came here with nothing, and then we released them from slavery with nothing. Then they had to go back to the same plantations and work for a very, very small fraction so they can live in the same shanty little shack that they had on the plantation. And then some of them were getting charged the same amount that they were working for, so they could still work for what? Free. Think about that. You have no place to go. The only job that you know is working on this plantation. So they give you your old job. Look, they give you your old job back. They say, well, it's going to be $3. We're going to pay you $3 a month. This is a long time ago. We're going to pay you $3 a month. Well, how much is rent, sir? $3 a month. You're like, huh? Yep. And it may be like, you may get paid $5 and rent is like $3, but you need the 4 and 5 to pay for food. You can't really save any money. But this is some of the things that we went through. So if you don't understand American history, because if I just tell anyone to study American history from start to finish, I don't even need to talk about race. Race is going to be prevalent all throughout American history. That's why I say you can't talk about America without talk about race, because it's the very foundation of it. It's just what it is. And then you go through and you really layer and peel back the onion, you will see so many damn systematic barriers that most people just want to see it blatantly. Where it said don't let black people get a loan? Where it said that right here? People act so weird. Like, listen, okay. If you have this, you got all these black people making $60,000, and you have these white people making $60,000, and they all have an 800 credit score, and they're allowing the white people to get the loans, but they ain't letting the black people to get the loans. What else do you need to know? But people will act dumb. Again, that are those emotional responses. Ross says, what people still don't get is that the Marshall Plan done with Europe after World War II, which gave Europe reparations, by the way. I know what you're getting at. A solid Marshall Plan acted with the East, led by private sector to this day. But the Marshall Plan also gave Europeans reparations from the American government. So everybody get reparations. And again, that's why you don't really hear me talking about reparations as much. I'm going to bring it up every now and again. But I think we need to progress. We can still have that plight, that fight, have those talks, those discussions, those debates, but we still need to progress. We can't stay there. We shouldn't wait for any government entity to give us anything, because guess what? They really haven't given us anything. They really haven't given us anything, to be honest. And I'll leave you guys with this. Anytime you have people that come over to this country, no matter where they're from, and in 3 years, they're doing better than you, and you be here your entire life. Some people will blame the government. Some people will blame racism. And all of those are factors, and we can't ignore it. But we cannot let that stop us. We cannot let that be an excuse. We cannot. We have to think forward. We have to do the uncomfortable thing. We have to sacrifice. I was talking to a couple of buddies of mine. I was like, well, my son, he's going to be a mechanical engineer, electrical engineer. He's going to be a pilot, because I'm thinking about the next 10 to 20 years. And he's not going to just be any mechanical engineer. He's going to be a mechanical engineer with an AI focus, so he can design cars as well using AI technology and learning how to prompt and how to understand the code of AI. Because again, you can't be a one-trick pony. You have to have undeniable skill for the possible future we're about to walk into. America, let alone the world, is going to be very, very different in 10 years. Look how fast AI is moving. If you're not pushing your kids in some sort of doctor program, pilot program, electrician or plumber, those trades that are still going to be around, then I hope it's something dealing with technology. And I give you the best advice I can give anybody today. Here's my best advice. Don't go and waste your time on an MBA. I got one. Don't waste your time. AI has 1,000 MBAs. You can get an MBA and you have these different concentrations, right? Within your master's bachelor's degree. I mean, your master's business degree. You have all these different concentrations. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your time in accounting. There's a Gemini, Perplexity, Claude AI, Mansa, Chat GPT is already there for you. You can basically go into Chat GPT and say, act as an expert. Your role, listen to this, your role is an expert, well-experienced accountant / CPA / finance guru. And your task is to do these Excel spreadsheets, algorithms, etc. And think for a couple of minutes, especially if you put on the extra little pro or deep thinking or extended thinking. It would take a couple of minutes, do all your work for you. Don't waste your time getting no goddamn MBA. Don't waste your time. I got a BA and an MBA. So I would tell you, don't waste your time. Either you're going to work with your hands, like being a construction worker, one of the trades, a welder. But with these damn robots, who knows? I see a lot of robot arms doing welding, but we're not there where the industry is being replaced by robots. but definitely get into tech. Have your kids get into tech. I don't care if they like it or not. That's another thing. And this is my opinion, okay? I'm not speaking for all Black Americans. We as Black Americans, once we have done a little better in our lives, our living status has changed a little bit better, we become softer on our kids. Oh, maybe you should just do something that makes you happy. No, I don't care about your happiness. I don't care about my son's happiness. I don't. I care about his achievements and progress. And some people may not agree with that. I don't care about your damn happiness. Fuck your happiness. When I'm gone, I want to make sure you have the skills to pay the bills, that you can not only survive, but take care of yourself and live a comfortable life. And I think that's what a lot of Black people are afraid to do. Stop going and get those damn social studies degrees and those administrative degrees. AI doing all that. They're firing and letting go people 50 to 100 at a time. Thousands of people are getting laid off because all of these administrative jobs, AI is doing it 10 times, 100 times faster than you will ever do it. And that's just the truth of the matter. All the lab meat that no one wants to eat in America is widely deployed on Eastern population. They know it, but their practices are radical, okay? The West Tech and business sector are the ones building all that stuff. The people just must keep their mouth shut and take all the transformations. Boy, deep. But anyway, guys, thank you for joining. Thanks for staying with me as long as you have. I know that I was all over the place, but I just wanted to tell you guys I had a great time in China. And it's not what you think it is. It really isn't. And that you should go. And once you learn about the rights that they have, like I did a little bit of research, of course, but once you find out the rights that they have and the rights that they don't have versus ours, me personally still love America just as much as I did before. But China and its people are a really good place to visit and really enjoy. I would definitely say that. I had nothing bad to say, except for those guys eating their boogers and those 300 million people, a million men that smoke. That's all. You guys have a good one.